Welcome to this Roll for Crit preview. Today we're going to take a close look at Chronicles of Crime from Lucky Duck Games. This is about crime, if you haven't guessed from the title.
Chronicles of them, in fact.
Indeed.
It's a mystery game, it's cooperative, and you're going to be working through an app on your phone to try to solve the case. You're all cops, and you have to figure out, based on an initial crime scene, the murder victim, you may have a suspect, some evidence. You've got to go and scan cards and try to figure things out together. There's a lot going on that you can do with the app, and you'll notice each of these cards actually has a QR code on it.
Which is really cool, because whether it's the experts or even witnesses or the police chief, when you have the phone app, you can actually scan them to go into interrogation mode. In essence, you're asking questions. And either you can scan, like for example, if I was talking to this lady here, if I wanted to ask her about the dead subject, I can scan that card. If I want to ask her about some closed evidence we may found, you can scan that. And if they have an answer or not, they'll react to it, which is really cool.
As you progress, as you talk to people, they might give you info about different clues that you can add to the board, even new locations that you can travel to, which go along the side. In terms of other kinds of games, Phoenix Wright is what it really made me feel like, or in general, those kinds of point and click games where you're talking to people, but you're not limited to, like a typical board game, even in a Sherlock Holmes game, to what the text says. You can actually be like, look, I want to ask you about this specific thing.
In addition, I know Sherlock Holmes was just, the longer you take, the worse score you have compared to Sherlock, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Mythos Tales does, I believe, have a timer, unless I'm thinking of a different one.
Yeah, it does.
And so does Time Stories, and which is sort of it's on the far end of it, but in it.
Yes.
In this one, there's actually, each action will take like a certain number of time, and it can be different. Because if you travel to a place, it's going to take more time, which is really cool. And when we mean time, it's right now 4 o'clock. It's now 5 o'clock, which actually becomes cool because in one of the scenarios we played, nighttime occurred, which actually changed who was in certain locations.
Yeah, so to be clear, just make sure no one's confused, it's not real time, it's in-game time.
Right, you'll say like after you talk to this person that took 15 minutes or whatever.
But yeah, so the time of day will actually affect what you're doing, so it does feel more like a living, breathing world, which is really neat. It's a very, very simple setup, and you really don't even need to read the rulebook. It comes with a tutorial on the app, which walks you right through how to play. Because it's all in that app, and I mean, you just put this board and a few of these cards out on the field, and you're pretty much ready to go. So it's very easy to introduce to people.
Yeah, and we haven't even gone to what I'd say one of the most interesting parts is the clue finding
Yeah,
section.
That's right. You may have noticed this weird pair of glasses on the table. So one of the sections of the game is when you can look for clues, and you can do that just with your phone it'll show you sort of an artistic rendering of a crime scene or whatever place you're in, and you can look around using the gyroscope or your finger to look for actual clues. And depending on what you find, everybody has different cards, and you're going to try to figure out what clues relate to it.
Right. But you can, because we love all the gimmicky stuff, slide this on, like so.
These glasses on there, and look through them like this. You can be this cool guy.
And what's cool is you'll look around and you'll see certain things, then you can scan like, oh, I saw some clothes there or something, or there was a blood trail to tell you whether it's a clue or not.
My phone is actually, the home screen is on, so I just got a cool VR view of my Facebook notifications. It's really interesting. So that's certainly a neat aspect. So you don't need this to play, but it adds a cool effect.
It definitely was a cool, fun effect. And it made really cool looking for clues, because what I think is really fun about this, then, unlike Sherlock Holmes and stuff, where a lot of it is the paper and it's more reading and imaginative, you literally can be like, here's the crime scene, and you really have to think, okay, wait, because we played once and we missed something. They even told us, you're missing some clues from the scene. So we go back and like, oh crud, there were some drugs there.
Yeah,
like we totally missed that.
Yeah, it's definitely more dynamic feeling than a game like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. It feels more, like you said, because there's no text, it's just you guys are there. You're at the scene, and your discussions are your actual, where should we go, what should we do? You can play with 1 to 4 players, they recommend. You could probably throw in more than 4, but be careful with that.
Honestly, when it comes to these kind of games, we really enjoy the small number I mean, that's just us too. So
4 worked pretty well, but I feel like this game, 1 or 2 players would be like perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Even as a solo game, I think this would be, because it really feels like a video game. You would be fine being able to do that, but having another person or two to bounce ideas off of always also helps. Yeah, I mean, this is such a fun concept. We're a little predestined to like this game. I think because we love storytelling games. We're also fans of VR, which this kind of has the VR aspect to it. It really was a cool take on that genre.
yeah, the Kickstarter is on right now. We saw some of the stretch goals, like new characters and stuff like that. But what's also really advantageous about this style compared to Sherlock is if they wanted to make new content, you actually don't need many new pieces. This person could represent someone else, and because this is very generic of jewelry, you could scan it. They could just upload a new story in the app.
Yeah, I think that's so cool, such a great idea that they could keep making new content for the game as time goes on. You don't need to buy a whole new set like you do with Time Stories, for instance. So that's a great addition. It's built right into this game. Really cool stuff. If you like those kinds of games like Time Stories or Sherlock Holmes, or video games like Phoenix Wright, or I don't know, LA Noire maybe, definitely look into Chronicles of Crime. We liked it. It was fun. That's on Kickstarter right now, as we said. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this has been a Roll for Crit preview.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comments below.
Oh yeah!